Hey everybody, Teresa here. Just wanted to talk to you today about branding. And if you are in the e-commerce business, which most of you are, and this is especially for those who are selling in merch by Amazon, you do need to pay attention to branding. Now, I talked about this briefly of why in the free guide. So definitely grab a hold of that free guide so that you can read through it and get a better idea as to why branding is important. But one of the reasons why you want to pay attention to branding is because you can raise up your prices and you are no longer worried about trying to compete on a marketplace, or it eliminates a lot of your competition because you are the only person who is offering something more than just a t-shirt. What you're offering to people is something that they can actually identify with on a deeper level, and that is with your brand. So when you are wanting to establish your business as a long-term business solution, okay? So it's okay if you just want to sell t-shirts. You know, that's all you care about. You just want to sell t-shirts in a corner. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be able to sell more of them a lot more effectively, and you don't have to work quite so hard at it, you're beginning to work smarter, and you're able to raise your prices up. What that means is you need to attach a brand to what you're doing. This is something that is going to build you a highly targeted audience that is very interested in who you are and what you have to offer. So in order to get your branding up and running and in place, you do need to know who you are and what you offer. So connect to a certain group of people or a certain type of people that we call this subcultures for your branding. This subculture needs to feel an emotional attachment to you. They need to feel a sense of belonging. They need to feel like if they buy your products, it's part of their identity. It's a part of who they are. It's a part of self-expression. That's what branding is. And more specifically, if you are selling products in e-commerce, the very specific type of branding that you want to focus on is called lifestyle branding. So a person chooses to live a certain lifestyle, and this lifestyle becomes who they are. It becomes intertwined with their self-image. It becomes intertwined with their identity, with their values, with their goals in life, and what their vision for their life is of what they want to do or what they want to become or what they want to accomplish. It is basically who they are. And if you create products that is easy for people to connect with, they have an emotional connection with you, with who you are, with what you represent, they will buy from you all day long. And you can have your prices up higher because they feel connected to you. They feel like they belong. They feel like this is my place to go get the products that I want for my lifestyle because I can connect with that easier. So this is the difference between, I'll give an example. This isn't a difference between going and buying a t-shirt that is just unbranded, or maybe it's a very generic brand. No one really knows what that is or has heard of it before. Or maybe it's going and buying a brand that identifies themselves with a certain culture or subculture. And this can be across the world. This is not just in the United States, but across the world. So an example of a brand that it started out within a very small subculture would be Victoria's Secret. And they began with trying to create products and target their lifestyle branding for the upper English, okay? And then another brand came along called Burberry. And what they did was they wanted to go after the hipster London crowd. So both of these brands are more defined, niche down in their subculture of saying they started in England, in the London area. One was more upper scale. The other one was more of a hipster type feel to it. That's the emotional attachments that you perceive or that you get with the products. And then that's where they began. And from there, they expanded their brand out further to offer out to a few more subcultures. So obviously they do not sell their products in just London, England. Now we can find their products all across the world. But they started someplace with their lifestyle branding and then expanded that out. So the question here is, who are you, first of all? And what subculture are you going after where people can relate to you? What is it that you want them to feel? How is it that they can most connect to you with your products and what you have to offer and who you are? So the focus up to this point in Merch by Amazon and in just selling products on Amazon or selling products in any kind of a marketplace has been, I can take this product over here and I can sell it over here and I can make money. Okay, now I think it's time, if you're ready for this, to take it a step further. And it's time for you to build a brand, and it's not that difficult to do. You can have this done where you can get some very highly targeted people in a year or less. Okay, now every brand needs to have some marketing channels, and Pinterest is a great marketing channel for you because you can then, through what you are showing people, you can grab that highly targeted audience that connects with you, that connects with who you are and what you offer. So for example, if you want to say, okay, I am going to begin building a lifestyle brand around surfing. You take your awesome and amazing surf designs and you start expanding out your bestsellers and your surf designs, and you really hone in on that subculture, and you begin pinning things that have anything to do with surfing. They could be other people's great articles that they've written with tips or how-tos. You can write your own articles if you want to, but you don't have to start there. And then you include your products in that mix so that you get the people who are a part of that culture. They can identify with that. They say, you know what, I'm a surfer and I love this stuff. You know, I never heard of this brand before. I love their t-shirts. I love everything that they're doing. So I'm going to start buying from them because they can relate to you. They have an emotional attachment to you. If you are doing something inspirational, you have inspirational stuff. If you have motivational stuff, that stuff works really great on Pinterest. It does really, really well. Humor is huge on Pinterest, but you want to define different types of humor and tap into the subcultures of that. So you can have surfing as a subculture. That's an activity-based type of lifestyle brand, but then you can include humor as part of that and say, okay, what could I do in the surfing world that I can add in some humor? What could I do in the surfing world where I can add in something motivational? What can I do to add in inspirational? Once you take the humor, inspirational, and motivational, those are all separate boards that you can do to start targeting and niching down within that subculture, if that makes any sense to you at all. That's how you do it. You niche that down, and now you are getting more different types of people within the subculture, and they're so highly targeted to where you don't need a big audience. You don't need to have a ton of followers. You don't need to have a lot of people who even know who you are. What counts is that you may have one follower that is so passionate, they identify with you so well that they become your loyal shopper. They are the ones that will come back again and again and again and buy from you all the time. That's who you want to have on your side. So your goal is not to go out and get as many likes as possible, get as many followers as possible, but your goal is to build the right kind of audience who is passionate. They know who you are. They know what you represent. They can align themselves with you. And again, this is through a lifestyle brand. And they feel like a sense of belonging, and this is part of their identity and their self-expression. So they're going to buy a t-shirt from you that they feel they can really relate to, and they want to express that out to the world. That's why they wear it. So a lot of why people wear t-shirts is for self-expression purposes. Maybe they want to inspire someone or motivate. Maybe it's reminders to themselves. They have a feeling, an emotional attachment to you overall and to your products. So your brand is very, very influential, and it's going to attract the right type of customers that you want to have. So you want to think about that, and then you can niche that down into your boards. Right now, I feel like, in the merch world, what's been talked about is just do anything and everything and just throw it all out there. Okay. I think that if you want to become a high level seller and you're a more serious seller, you're wanting to be more serious in e-commerce, you have to let go of that kind of mentality. It's almost like a beginner mentality, and you need to have more of an advanced mentality of saying, okay, what do I need to do to take this to the next level? What is smart about that is that you don't have to work quite so hard. You can have an audience of 20 people, but all 20 of them will buy a lot from you because they identify with you. They can relate to you and who you are. And that is displayed through your branding. So focus on the subculture that you want to reach. That could be an activity. It could be geography. It could be any kind of a group of people and what they're passionate about. If you are a veteran, maybe you want to focus on the subculture of veterans. Maybe it's patriotism. Maybe it is a certain city within any country or within the United States. So for example, a lot of souvenir products do well because it will say, I love New York, okay? There's a lot of companies out there that sell products that are just anything and everything about New York City because people love it. They are passionate about it, they relate to it, they identify with it. So you could do anything that you want to do and think about who you are. Are you a low-end brand? Are you a mid-range brand? Or do you want to reflect more of a luxury brand? And that really is important for you to understand, because that's what you are going to express and display out publicly. So when I work with some e-commerce businesses and I do an account overhaul, or I do their monthly management services, most of them that I work with are doing quite well with their sales. They are either a six-figure seller or they are a seven-figure seller, and they do have their own stores. Some of them have, maybe just a Shopify store. Others have more than just a Shopify store. They have brick and mortar stores as well. And what they are doing is they are working on their branding, and their branding is really, really good across all of their marketing channels. So it makes it super easy to pin and put those new products out there, and boom, organically they get the sales. It's not that much effort. It's not that hard. That's where those organic sales are coming from, is because they've really defined their lifestyle brand in a way to where they know exactly who they are, they know who their target audience is, and then it's easy to begin pinning the right types of things that are complementary to those products to target that subculture. Now, if you're not doing that, it makes it much harder, and you have to treat it almost like a more general store, or almost kind of like a Walmart. Well, if you do that, now we're talking lower end branding, and I don't know that that's where you want to stay. That may be a great place for you to begin. It could be a great place for you to start out, but I don't know if that is a long-term solution for you in the end, because your pricing may have to be more on the lower end than what you really want to have happen. Plus, you may feel a little bit more unfocused, and you are trying to just do anything and everything instead of really focusing on that subculture of people that you want to connect with. Okay, so think about how your company can connect. Is there something that you are passionate about? Is there a group of people that you identify with personally, and you want to begin moving your company in that direction? Now, can you have more than one brand? Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. So you could have a brand that focuses on the subculture of, maybe it is diving, people who love diving. And then you could have the subculture of swimmers. Okay, now you might think that they're the same, but they are not. They are not. Swimmers have opinions about divers, and divers have opinions about swimmers, right? But yet at the same time, it is still within kind of a bigger niche area, which is, swimming in general, or water sports is what you could say. So that's kind of a nice situation where it is more of a lifestyle of water sports, but then you can niche down into different subcultures within your water sports and say, I have a subculture of divers, I have a subculture of swimmers, I have a subculture of this, a subculture of that. Now, if that's spreading you too thin, then you don't do that. You just find one small subculture and you start there. Many of you have a lot of different subcultures right now. That's why you feel overwhelmed. And so when you start working on your Pinterest boards, I start getting a lot of questions where people are lost. What do I do? Where do I begin? How do I figure out my boards? The reason why is because you have so many different types of products. They are representing way too many subcultures for you to handle right now. So my suggestion would be to start with your best sellers and the subculture of those best sellers. Make it something that you love. Make sure that that subculture is something that you know something about. You can relate to it yourself, because it's so much easier for you to sell those products. It's a subculture that you're passionate about, something that you like talking about or creating pins about or creating products for. Pick that subculture first and start creating some boards based around that one subculture. You can make your branding a little more general, and then your next set of boards would be the next subculture that you want to go after. So that's one way for you to handle trying to figure out, what do I do with all of these products and get these into boards. Another thing is that you could just say, I am only going to focus on one subculture, and that is it. My whole Pinterest business account will be just nothing but this subculture. Perfect. That's even better yet, because it's very zeroed in, and it's very targeted, and it's almost micro-targeted. It is going to be so much easier for you now to focus your marketing and direct it right at that audience that you are trying to bring in and attract. So I guess figure out who your subculture is. And before you do that, know who you are and what do you have to offer. Once you know who you are and what you have to offer, you're able to target at least one subculture. And think about how you can do that. This is going to be part of your overall lifestyle brand strategy. Use Pinterest as one of your marketing channels for your brand. It's highly targeted. There are far more shoppers on Pinterest than there is on any other site, social media site especially. And it's very easy for them to find what you have to offer because Pinterest is really a search engine. It's a search engine that is more like Google than it is like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or anything. So it's much easier for people to find your products if you understand the SEO and the keywords. And think about the connection that you can have with this subculture. How can I connect with them? And it's going to be a lot easier for you to get your Pinterest board set up in a way that makes sense, that's highly targeted, and you will start naturally attracting followers who really will buy from you. So if you feel like you're not getting a lot of sales organically happening, it may be because you need to focus in a little more on who you are, what you have to offer, and what is the subculture that is your audience. Who is your audience? What can I do to establish an emotional connection with them? And they will buy from you because they can identify with you. They can't identify with you unless they know who you are first, right? Then they can relate. And they're more likely then to become not just a buyer, but a loyal shopper. So that's all I have for you today. Hey, Teresa, how's it going? Good to see you here. Hi, Linda. It's good to see you here. But I wanted to talk about branding a little further because there's been some requests of, can you talk about branding? Can you help me to make sense of what to do with my boards? How do I create all of these boards? There's a lot of confusion out there that I'm hearing coming from the Merch by Amazon world. And I think it's because you need to maybe start steering yourself in a different direction. Start steering yourself in the direction of developing a lifestyle brand, and you're going to find a lot more success. If you don't want to do that, that's great. Go ahead and just, produce designs, whatever, and try to throw the spaghetti against the wall. But I think it's a lot easier for you to focus. You'll be able to ask higher prices. You'll be able to develop an audience. You'll get loyal shoppers. It's going to be so much easier for you to get to the 6 and 7 figures that you want to be if you start working on your branding and figure out what your lifestyle brand is. Okay. So when I work with the 6 and 7 figure sellers with their Pinterest marketing, the reason why there are 6 and 7 figures is because they've got their branding down well. They know who they are. They are identifying with a certain subculture and they represent themselves in that way. And it really helps them to get a lot more product sales. You can find that same product and buy it on, anywhere else far cheaper than what you can directly from them. That's why they're able to ask for higher prices, is because their branding is in place and it's done quite well. And it represents the lifestyle that subculture would like to have, the lifestyle that they desire, the lifestyle that they want, it's what they identify with. So that's how they're able to get, ask for higher prices, and they pay for it. They will pay those prices, okay? So that's what sets apart an average cup of coffee from a Starbucks cup of coffee. It's part of the branding. It's part of the strategy. And if you can take a look at some of these companies who have done it really well, try and think about who is the subculture that they are going after, and is that a subculture that I'm interested in, or do I want to do that a little bit differently? Okay. Look to see if there's any questions. If not, I'll let you go for now. I went a little longer than expected, but I wanted to help you with the beginning stages of your branding and the beginning stages of your lifestyle branding that I think you really need to start moving in this direction. You really do, because that's what sets apart. That's what I'm seeing with the 6 and 7 figures that I work, sellers that I work with, and the people who are just, it's kind of like hit and miss sales going on. And those are what I call the complainers and the opportunists that just do a lot of complaining. I'm not getting the sales. I'm not getting the sales. I'm not getting the sales. There's a reason for that. So think about lifestyle branding. Think about what you can do from there. Hey, Ryan, how's it going? All right, I'll let you go for now. Have a great rest of your day.